Arsenal dropped points, Chelsea dropped points, and Man United almost commit the heist of the decade. But we can't have nice things. Welcome back to Hatewatch, where football fans come to watch the world burn. I'm your host, thefatasian, and before we get started, go ahead and follow me on IG at thefatasianofficial. Help me get my numbers up to impress the hoes. But let's get into it, because I want to talk about Liverpool Man United. But first, speed round through survival of the fittest. Bournemouth scored a goal of the season contender with a kung fu kick that would make Jackie Chan proud. Just look at this thing. David Brooks, you get honorary Asian of the week. This was an iron fist ass kick. Then we had Chelsea versus Crystals. Chelsea looked to be on their way in the first half with this brilliant move by Jadon Sancho, who then sets it on a play for Cole Palmer, just sweep it in. The Crystals grow into the game and find an equalizer late, thus once again proving Maresca correct. They are not in a title race. This season for Chelsea feels like, remember when Spider-Man showed up for the first time in Civil War? You got a taste of what was to come. He was fun and exciting, but you knew he wasn't the main character yet. That's how I feel about Chelsea this year. Big things to come, not quite yet. Brentford slapped 5 past Southampton, who might be the worst team to ever grace the Premier League, and Leicester suffer another loss to Aston Villa, effectively keeping the bottom of the table pretty much the same. Now, I probably don't need to tell a lot of you guys this, but Tottenham might be the funniest team in the Premier League. They score early through Dominic Solanke, who doesn't do an anime celebration. Very disappointed in you, Dominic. And thus, he was punished for not summoning the power of God in anime to his side. It's just 2 minutes later, they go ahead and concede through Anthony Gordon, prompting the commentator to say, doesn't that just sum Spurs up? And there's this sequence at the end of the game. All right, first I'm going to show this RCD skit.
What are you doing? Come on! Stop that double team me! Bro, stop laying out!
Ready? You open!
Man, come on, man! Stop!
Let's go down!
Stop, man! Oh my gosh! Bro!
All right, you watch that. And now you watch this. Just pass, pass, pass. Somebody shoot! For the love of God, somebody shoot. Same energy. Newcastle go ahead and find a winner, and Spurs lose again. They get exactly 50% of their games played in the league losses. It may be the biggest indicator of how their season's going. They are now just a single point above Manchester United in the table. Newcastle, on the other hand, is in the ascendancy. This is 5 wins in a row for them, and they are now up to 5th place in the Premier League table, only a point behind struggling Chelsea, and that oh-so-lucrative Champions League spot. Although, they don't really need the money. Eddie Howe continues to prove that he's the greatest English manager I've seen in my lifetime, which is not saying much. But to be fair to him, many, and myself included, figured him to be more of a kind of a low-tier god. You know what I'm saying? A giant killer, a relegation bandit. Like, in my head, he was always going to be like a Sean Dyche type. Someone who was good with a Bournemouth or an Everton or even a Southampton. But credit to him, he has shattered these labels. After stepping away from Bournemouth, he took a sabbatical and literally went on an anime training arc. Spent time away from coaching to go ahead and study under the master of shithousery, Diego Simeone at Atletico Madrid, learning how they train, how they operate, and he has come back from Spain with a post-time skip power-up that would make Luffy proud. And now, this motherfucker is able to go toe-to-toe with a lot of the big boys that we thought were out of his league. And he has built Newcastle much in the same vein as Atletico Madrid, creating one of the best defensive teams in the league while allowing the talents of Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak carry them up front. And they're slowly but surely shaping into a force for many years to come. They finished 4th place last season for a reason. And after a somewhat skittish start to the season, they are now rounding into form and proving that it was no fluke. Arsenal tried to keep pace in the title race while adjusting to life without Bukayo Saka for all of January. And you know what? His understudy looked great. Can I say this guy's name? Nawaneri? Bro looked like Saka 2.0 out there. But they do end up drawing just 1-1 up against pesky Brighton. And with Forest winning this Monday, that will have them tied for 2nd place on points, still far trailing behind Liverpool in the title race. Oh, and Man City are back to the winning ways, but no one gives a shit, so let's move on. Let's talk about it. Man United versus Liverpool, the game of the week. And all of the preamble leading up to this, from the press to the fans to social media, was Man United were about to get their butthole imploded. And with good reason, with the literal future, past, and present all pointing to an absolute slaughter at Anfield. Because here are some of the statistics I heard throughout the week that seem unbelievable. All right, get this. The last time Man United won at Anfield, Wayne Rooney scored the winner. Wayne Rooney has retired, moved on to coaching, and has managed and been sacked by 4 different teams since the last time Manchester United has won at Anfield. Think about that. Yeah, and if you think that was bad, here, I got another one for you. The last time Manchester United has scored at Anfield, not one, just scored a singular goal at Anfield, Kobe Mainoo was 13 years old. And with this season showcasing maybe the most informed Liverpool that has ever graced the Premier League, while simultaneously we are seeing unquestionably the worst Manchester United we have ever seen in the Premier League era, then you can understand why Gary Neville was furiously shoveling snow back onto the pitch in hopes of getting the game postponed. But I must say, despite my looming dread, seeing Anfield covered in snow was quite magical. I'm still a little kid. Sadly, the snow didn't stick to the pitch, or they didn't let it, but you can still see it piled up in front of the ad boards. But I thought it was a bit poetic that the only thing that can keep our eyes from being constantly bludgeoned by the bright advertisements of capitalism was a little bit of Mother Nature. I'm sorry, Mother Nature, we should treat you a little better. But as the game begins, the snow turns into a slushy downpour. So much so that the roof of Anfield starts to spring a couple leaks. Seems familiar. Yeah, the Man United players must have felt right at home, and maybe, just maybe, that gave them a little bit of boost, as the massacre did not go as planned. United survived an early flourish by Liverpool and actually grow into the game. Considering last week they were down 2-0 before the 19th minute mark, this was a nice little moral victory. And probably because Amrin didn't play a dead man and an old man in the midfield. No, this time he opted for the industrious Ugarte, as well as the young-legged Kobe Mainoo in their midfield, and despite a few close calls, they make it to halftime 0-0, with the best chance of the game actually coming for United. They had a nice little counterattack. Ahmed was ahead of his defender, and if it wasn't for the cross going back behind him, maybe Manchester United could be up 1-0 instead of Ahmed clearing the ball like he was a defender. But little did we know the cinema we were about to experience in the second half. 51st minute, Lisandro Martinez, who has not been having the best of seasons, goes full Thanos. He runs up from his defensive position, cuts out a pass, and plays it up as he continues his run forward. And Bruno Fernandes floats inside and plays a God pass. Liverpool's defense unlocks, and Licha says, "I'll do it myself." And he thrashes it, pure power. It shatters off the crossbar and into the net. And it could have easily gone into Rosie, but the pocket monster won't care. Against all odds, Man United are up 1-0 at Anfield in the snow. And I instantly thought to myself, this is not going to last long. And yeah, pretty much as I finished that thought, Liverpool equalized. And it's through the genius of Cody Gakpo. And in that moment, all my greatest fears about Arne Slot becoming the Gakpo whisperer is coming true in real time, and I'm scared because Gakpo's career up to this time at Liverpool, under Klopp anyway, has been pretty underwhelming. But then you see this kid at the Euros, and he's the third best player in that tournament. So, you know, if both of them are Dutch, easy connection there, if he can get that version of Gakpo alongside Final Four Mo Salah, then this Liverpool team would just be absolutely disgusting. I'm talking prime Stephen Clay numbers. You can try to stop one, but the other one's gonna go off. And all of that is coming to fruition. In their current forms, you could pretty much pencil both of them in for a goal. And 2 minutes is all Manchester United fans get to enjoy their lead at Anfield. We can't have nice things. As Cody Gakpo is played in on net, he embarrassingly sits Matthijs de Ligt the fuck down and then air bends the ball to the top corner of the net. It is silky, delightful stuff from the Dutch avatar. And Slot, this is why I like Slot. He says, fuck it, let's go win this. And he throws on more firepower. Luis Diaz and Chris Jones off. Darwin Núñez, Jota on. But Man United do something interesting. They do not fold like a bunch of bitches. In fact, they actually fight back. You can see it in them on the pitch. They're actually up for it tonight. And what results is some tremendous back and forth football. Next flashpoint, 67th minute. The cross comes into the box and finds the head of McAllister, who glances it into a fiercely outstretched arm of Matthijs de Ligt. Not his best game. All the Liverpool players immediately appeal, and the all-seeing eye of Sauron summons Michael Oliver to the VAR booth, and quickly he points to the spot. It's a penalty. Mo Salah steps up, and even with Onana guessing the right way, Mo Salah is the moment. He makes it 2-1, and Liverpool have turned it around at Anfield in the eye of the storm, with their Egyptian king sitting on the pitch with outstretched arms, begging FSG to give him the contract he deserves. And you guys should really pay him, as the Anfield faithful are rewarded for enduring the frozen sleet, battering them for over an hour. It felt borderline religious, with all gathered in their house of worship, and Anfield was rapturous. But the heretic, Ruben Amorim, goes and makes his countermove, taking off Kobe Mainoo to put on the offensive and lesbian-looking Garnacho, and it pays off. In the 97th minute, Garnacho runs the channel on the left, cuts back a pass to the penalty spot, and who else arrives on it but Big Game Ahmad, who's lucky to scuff the shot through the legs of Andrew Robertson, and somehow the ball slowly rolls its way into the back of the net. It all felt like slow motion. But this little tiny Ivorian prince has done it again. He is a breath of fresh air in a season full of shit. Amad Diallo is the only good thing happening in my sports life right now. Hell, he's the only good thing happening in my non-sports life right now. And with that, Manchester United have snatched the momentum back. 81st minute, Trent, who has not been having his best game, goes ahead and short arms a pass into the midfield that Ahmad scoops up. And the counter would be on if Virgil van Dijk isn't quick to go ahead and snuff it out. But not before he goes ahead and he turns around and he gives a death stare back at Trent that would burn a hole in Trent's new Real Madrid contract. I kid, or am I? And it goes from bad to worse for Liverpool. Bruno Fernandes receives the ball in the middle of the park and somehow weasels his way through 5 Liverpool players, forcing Trent to go ahead and drag him down, getting himself a yellow. And it's more back and forth, spread your butt cheeks open football, and it's glorious. 89th minute, Darwin Núñez is played in and maybe should have scored if not for an inch perfect tackle by the young prodigy Lenny Yoro. The Liverpool corner routine a minute later sees a brilliant flick on and Virgil van Dijk is there, a yard away from the net, but he cannot get enough power onto it as it bounces harmlessly into Onana's hands. 2 brilliant chances for Liverpool, but they cannot capitalize. And when you don't do that, you might regret it. And in the 97th minute, Ugarte plays a prayer ball up, and it breaks perfectly for United. Xerxes is played in, and instead of seizing the moment, of becoming the hero, of exercising all the boos and demons from last week, he decides to be unselfish and pulls it back to Maguire on the spot, who is unmarked. But the pass is poor, bouncing up right before it gets to the center back, and old blockhead shins it into the nosebleeds. A golden chance. But reality doesn't always get its fairy book ending. Full time in a game that had everything but a winner. And I myself was pretty happy, but then I'm kind of put back to reality. We didn't get slaughtered, so that was great. But big picture, this is a mild hiccup for Liverpool. Yes, they dropped points, but it was in a weekend that Chelsea and Arsenal also dropped points, so no biggie there. Although, maybe a couple of cracks are forming. There were reports that after the match, there was a little bit of a shouting match in the dressing room. And considering how Virgil van Dijk was screaming his fucking head off at Trent the entirety of the game, I don't know how he doesn't 2-foot Trent the moment they got behind closed doors. And the rumors are to be true, which I do believe, the two almost came to blows apparently in the dressing room after the match. And to add fuel to all this fire, you still have the looming contracts of Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah, and of course Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has been heavily rumored with a move to Real Madrid over these past couple years. And you get maybe just a couple of vulnerabilities forming. We'll bookmark this and perhaps visit it later in the season. But here's the thing. Winning is a wonderful salve. And if Slot can get them refocused, they didn't lose, they didn't play their best, but they're still right there. And as long as they do not choke it away, it is still very much their league to win. So no, I do not expect Liverpool to absolutely spiral after this. Now, as for Man United, this was a desperately needed response from the manager and the team. This team had to show something after the last couple of weeks. And they did. They showed fight, they showed grit, energy, they were hunting in packs, there was quality from their star players, which made it all the more frustrating as you ask yourself, why can't they do this every week? And then you think, will this just be how it is for the rest of the season? Are they just going to play Jekyll and Hyde every other week? And we all know the answer. Most likely it's yes. But these are all questions for the future. We don't have a game until the 14th, so until then, I'm going to take the dubs where I can find them, even when it's in the form of a draw. But at least for this week and a half, the vibes at Manchester United are not absolutely horrendous. And that is good enough for me. Remember, my New Year's resolution wasn't for 2025 to be our year. It was for it to be slightly less shitty than 2024. And I would say this is not a bad start. But come and ask me that in 2 weeks. Yeah, that'll be it for this episode of Hatewatch. If you guys did enjoy, go ahead, smush a hard right nipple and the like button right now. Helps me in this god fucking forsaken algorithm. Any of my patrons keep me alive and well. I don't know, or if you guys care, but sponsorships have absolutely dried up for me on YouTube. So you guys and assets are pretty much how I'm keeping the lights on. So yeah, I cannot say thank you to you guys enough and how much I appreciate y'all. Once again, a shout out to the newest member of the GOAT tier, Nyanya Bar. Shout out to all the OG GOATs. We got Elm, Robert Matai, Peter Bar. You guys related? The Fat Austrian, Valente Vasquez, Movadoc, and of course, the double GOAT, Sandra Jeremy. Thank you to Alex and Lewis for helping me edit this video. If you want to go ahead and employ them, all their contact information will be in the description down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.